Hey everyone, Transmission Diva over here. Thank you so much for making it all the way onto part two of the mini series. Okay, so in part two, I will basically be discussing all the types of content that usually go viral and what this means for you and your business. Okay, now quick disclaimer. These are all the types of content that usually go viral. It doesn't mean that if you put out the exact same piece of content that yours will go viral. A whole lot of other variables have to go into that depending on how good the content actually is. So if it really is that great, if it is valuable, all of that. It also depend on if you target the right person. So um, like you cannot be putting out a piece of content in hopes that your ideal client will like it. You have to know that they will like it. So you need to be absolutely clear on your target audience. And yeah, so those are just some of the statistics that some of the variables that go into whether or not your piece of content will go viral. Okay, let's get started. Now, the first type of content that can go viral are known as publicity stunts. So, PR stunts or publicity stunts basically refers to doing or even saying something that is extremely ridiculous or outrageous. And this is all for the sake of getting more eyes on you and your brand. Now, if this is planned, targeted, and executed properly, these can be absolutely great. However, on the flip side, if they are not executed properly, they can have a lot of negative consequences that are far greater than, simply remaining quiet and unseen. So if your target audience doesn't exactly get what you were trying to do, they might actually become, confused and even maybe upset by it all. So yeah, but a good example of a brand that pulled this off really nicely is Red Bull with their New Moon Party or the UFO stunt. So basically what they did is they got a couple of stuntmen to jump out of a helicopter above Los Angeles, and to the people down like on the ground it looked like basically a meteor about to land on Earth. And this really worked well because people are amazed with aliens, especially Americans. So they actually pulled it off really well because it amazed and amused their target audience. Okay, now the problem with PR stunts is that they can be very expensive and they require a lot of time to plan effectively. So as a small business, this would definitely not be your first marketing strategy. However, the big companies are able to pull this off really well. If you are a small company and you want to do this, you'd have to find more creative and cost-effective ways to basically pull this off. But I would just say leave it to the big guys. Just leave it to the big guys. Okay, now the second type of content that goes viral are free resources. These are less risky and they do result in less eyes, but they're still effective because hey, everybody loves free stuff. I mean, I love free stuff, so these work really well. So the types of content that usually gets shared as are ebooks, highly insightful blog posts. So these would have to be more than 1,000 words. And something that a lot of content marketers are doing these days are webinars. So they get their audience to join in on our webinar, and they share really helpful tips and advice on perhaps something that the audience could have been struggling on, and they basically provide them with a step-by-step solution on how to fix that issue. So those work super well with a lot of audiences these days, and a lot of companies are taking advantage of that. Okay, now the problem with free resources is the fact that consumers are becoming more aware of clickbait, and the thing is we've got access to at least dozen free resources every single day all over the internet. So your content has got to stand out. It has to have some sort of value proposition. So what this means is you still have to convince your audience exactly why they need to read your ebook or why they have to join in on your webinar. So they need to know that, that ebook is actually worth reading, or that webinar will not be a complete waste of time. Customers really value their time, and they need to know that spending time on your brand's proposition is really going to be worth it. Okay, now the third content that usually goes viral are irresistible offers. I'm sure you have seen these at least 100 times over this past week. So those things like buy one get one free, buy now get 35% off, hey, half price Tuesdays over here, buy 3 and get the cheapest one free. So all of these work really well with customers, because hey, we love irresistible offers. We love that, and they feel like, oh my word, I need to buy this thing right now because it is a bargain. Okay, now if your deal is really that good, you'd find that the people that you initially targeted will tell their friends, those friends will tell their families, those families will mention it to their neighbors, and so on and so on. It just perpetuates, and more people get to find out about your brand's irresistible offer, and so you create sort of a buzz around your brand. You create you get more people seeing that thing. So with content, word like this irresistible offers, wording is everything. So saying 20% off a 50 Rand item, that sounds so much better than just telling the customer, hey, it's 10 Rand off, even though the deal is basically the same. 20% just sounds better than 10 Rand off in your customer's head. So you've got to word it perfectly. And for another way of putting it is saying 6,000 Rand off a fridge that usually costs 30,000 Rand. That sounds so much better than just telling clients, hey, it's 20% off, even though once again it is exactly the same deal. But you've got to word it in such a way that creates an immediate reaction in your customer's mind, and they actually want to buy it because of just how it sounds so much better. You feel me? Cool. Okay, now finally, something that goes viral is known as meme propagation. Now, I'm not just referring to those images that get shared on Twitter and Facebook. A meme propagation really refers to a unit of cultural information that gets transmitted from one mind to another, and it results in a cultural revolution. Okay, so like I said, it's just not just those funny little images. You can have meme propagation in terms of like having a blog post, for instance. But in order for you to get this to work, you have to have a truly revolutionary idea. So something that perhaps goes against the status quo or results in behavioral change in your target audience. And there's a thing, you've got to target a specific audience. So for instance, you're just targeting like hip hop culture, or just Generation Z's, or just gym fanatics, and then you have those groups share your meme with like-minded individuals. And this works really good because people within a specific culture like to take on new trends that others are taking on, because they want to feel like they are truly part of that culture, and they want to feel like they are doing something that the rest of the group is doing. And in today's world, this works so well because just about every social media platform has groups. There are Facebook groups, Instagram pods, LinkedIn groups, Pinterest board groups, and so your meme propagation, so the meme propagation that is generated by your brand, can really spread super easily within these groups. It's so easy these days. Okay. Now, another way to use memes is in the modern way, which is those funny images that get shared across, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. But in order for this to work, your meme has got to be short and to the point. It has to be easy to understand. It has to create immediate reaction within the audience, so they should want to, press share immediately. And this happens if it is super funny, it is relatable, and it is shareable. So it has to be both relatable and shareable, because sometimes you can find a meme that is relatable but it is embarrassing, so you don't really want to share that with other people. Okay, so another thing, your meme has got to be in line with your overall brand voice, and in order for you to work, it has to have a subtle marketing message, so customers would actually want to engage with your brand some more. Now, if you haven't guessed it yet, the reason why this is so important for you and your business is because if you put out a piece of content and it goes viral, that basically means that a lot of people will be seeing it. If a lot of people see that piece of content, a lot of people will want to go to the source of it. So they'll want to go to your website, your main social media platform, all of that. And if more people go to your source or your main website, that means that a lot of people will be able to see your products and services. And the more people that see your products and services, the more people are likely to buy it if it is good. So there you have it. It is very important to put out content in hopes that it will go viral, because that will definitely result in